Emotionally, spiritually, physically bankrupt.
You failed at your task in being that next big movie or TV show.
Been a person who couch surfed, trying to chase a dream.
Less than 1% of the people make 50 grand a year or more.
Why actors fail? Well, that question can only be answered if you know this one. How many actors quit this business after the first year? Just 1 year. How many just quit? Do you think it's 15%, 25%, 30%, 40%? The answer is 2/3 of actors quit just after the first year. And don't even get me started about the years after that. Now, a lot of people have this misconception that they think, oh, it's because their acting ability isn't very strong and it's just not there. Sure, maybe for some of them, but there's a lot of talented actors out there, and that's just discounting all of the talent. There are a lot of talented actors out there who just simply don't make it. Now, here's something we have to understand. The true way that we can gauge if somebody is going to make it in this business or not is just the fact of, are they auditioning? If you audition, you at least have a chance to make it. Your chance in this industry is very slim. I think we all relatively know that when it comes to acting. Hopefully we do.
You're looking at a profession where literally with acting, less than 1% of the people make 50 grand a year or more. Less than 1%. Most of them can't even make enough to make health insurance, which is $11,000 a year.
The predictor of if you're auditioning, you have potential to get into a movie or a TV show. If you are not auditioning at all, you have zero chance. You cannot be sitting in your bedroom and then all of a sudden a director is going to knock on your door and then boom, you're going to be in a movie. Not how it works. So for those actors wondering if they fail or not, well, if you quit after the first year, you failed at your task to go and try and be in that next big movie or TV show. So then we have to ask ourselves the questions, why do actors quit? Why are they stopping? So there are two main reasons for why actors quit this business, and we're going to talk about the first one. The first one comes down to financials. A lot of people believe like, hey, I'm going to come out from the middle of Kansas and come to LA or New York, and then I'm going to audition for a year and boom, I'm going to go and make it in a big play or big movie, and I'm going to be able to sustain myself financially with acting. That rarely ever happens. What people don't realize is the reality of, hey, you're going to have to come out here, get an agent, get a manager, and then you're going to go and try to audition and hope to book a part. But in between all of that, you still got to make a living for yourself. You got to have money to pay for rent, money to pay for your car, money to go and pay for all your groceries, money to pay for any expenses that you have. If you want to have some fun time, being able to hang out with friends and things like that, or being able to just take acting classes, all requires having money, having the financial means to do so. And a lot of people who just decide, hey, I just want to move out to LA because I just want to be an actor because I saw this one movie I like. Well, you're going to find for yourself that you're not going to get that financial freedom to keep auditioning freely how you might imagine in your head. It's a really big struggle. Now, to emphasize these points more, many actors have had to deal with this. I want to show you a clip where Sylvester Stallone is talking about this.
Is that right? You were so poor that you actually sold your dog?
I did sell my dog at a 7-Eleven. It was either that or eat him. I mean,
even when I was totally broke, I always wanted to have an animal with me. And I mean, literally, I was
emotionally, spiritually, physically bankrupt. And so I had $106. The rent was $300. I had a pregnant wife. I have a very huge British dog, as a matter of fact, a bull mastiff.
Butkus! Hey, Butkus, give me a kid.
So finally I get the job. I go back to the fellow I sold it to. He's a short guy, really short. So that he paid me like $60 for the dog. He goes, I'll give you the dog back for $3,000. I don't have $3,000. He goes, all right, I want to be in the movie. So I put him in the movie.
In Rocky?
Yeah, he's the first kind of little scene. I'm walking in, he goes, how'd you do last night? I said, I did great, you should have been there. He goes,
Don't you think you ought to take a rest?
No, my back is it.
Your back?
You're deaf?
I'm short.
As you can see, Sylvester Stallone, who was trying to go and make it as an actor, who he was lucky enough to make it, he had to go and sell his dog just to make financial ends meet. Now, Sylvester Stallone is one of those lucky cases where he got very lucky. But how many actors out there are trying to make it in this business who never got that shot, who had to go and sell their dog or do other things? There's a lot of actors who have had to do that. We just don't always hear those stories. I want to show you another actor with Omar Dorsey.
I've been homeless. Been a person who couch surfed, trying to chase a dream. Wow. And, realized that dream, and the people who helped me while I was couch searching, man, I am forever in their debt. My brother Shay Roundtree, love him with all my heart. My sister Natasha Ward, great casting director. used to pick me up, take me to auditions, man. So I've been down bad times in my life.
As we can see, another example here, many actors struggle to sustain themselves financially. If you're lucky enough to be able to make it, that's great. But the majority of actors do not. We even learned this from all the strikes that were going on about how actors are getting paid. You do not get paid a lot. You cannot sustain yourself. Most people cannot sustain themselves within this business unless you are in the top 1%. Now, this is why a lot of actors quit after the first year, because they don't realize the financial struggle that you go through, where you're worried, hey, can I go and put food on my table this month? Or hey, your friends want to go out to the movies and you're like, oh, I know I haven't seen you for 3 weeks, but you just don't have the financial means to be able to do so. There's a lot of struggle that comes in with being an actor and being in this industry. This is why I always recommend to actors, hey, go and get your degree, get a higher paying job for yourself than rather the typical waiter job, which nothing is wrong with that at all. But if you're trying to have more financial means at your disposal, if you have a degree, you're able to get other jobs that can pay a little bit more money for yourself. And if you do that, then you're able to sustain yourself more as an individual, and you can also keep auditioning at the same time. A lot of people think that, oh, you have to do the stereotypical waiter job, but you don't. And a lot of things, by the way, have changed. Ever since the pandemic happened, a lot of auditions now, most of them, I would say maybe 98, 99% of them are held online on Zoom. I had to go and do a producer session the other day, and all of that was just completely on Zoom. I was going and interacting with the other people on the screen just through the computer. So you don't even have to now move out here to LA. You can go and still be in your hometown and do your auditions as long as you're willing, if they did happen to want an in-person audition for callbacks, that you then would just be willing to go and fly out. But there's so many more means that you have at your disposal. You don't have to do the typical route that you usually hear about, which is, oh, if you want to be an actor, come to Hollywood, struggle, do the waitering job, and then see if you can make it. That's not what you have to do. If you can get a job that helps sustain you more, so if you have a degree and you don't always have to move out here to LA now because everything's on Zoom, you might be able to get more financial means at your disposal, so then you can go and keep auditioning for yourself and you don't have to quit after 1 year. I'll say this, a lot of people glamorize the idea of being a struggling actor, but every struggling actor that I know, they're always saying, oh yes, I want to be the struggling actor, I'm in it because it's in the art form, and all these things that they say. And I said, okay, well, if you love it so much, then if somebody offered you $1 million, so then you would no longer be a struggling actor, would you take it? Well, everyone would say, oh, well, yeah, of course I would go and take the $1 million. Well, why? You love being a struggling actor so much. If you love being the struggling actor that much, then you wouldn't take the money. But then at the end of the day, people would want to take the money because they would rather be a millionaire than be a struggling actor. The second point that causes many actors to quit is that they really don't realize that there is a lot of rejection in this industry. You will go out for your auditions and you may get rejected from every single audition, meaning you don't book the part. You may have 100 auditions and you don't book one of them. That does happen. That has happened to many people before. This business is hard. It's difficult. It's tricky. You have to realize that for yourself. If you think, hey, you're just going to come out here, you're going to audition, and then boom, you're going to have something in a month because somebody said you were talented back home, that doesn't happen. Only the 1% make it. Now, I'll tell you what makes this thing even that much more difficult. If you have all these auditions in a year, and let's say you don't book any of them, which is fine, it happens to people, but it's that much harder when you're trying to make it, and you also are trying to struggle to put food on your table, to be able to go and pay for your rent, to be able to go and pay to just do fun activities with your friends, and you realize, oh wow, I can't do all of these things, and you're struggling. It makes the auditions when you don't book it that much harder because you're really trying to go and book those auditions, so you do have more financial means at your disposal. Here's the way that I like to think about it. If you have to go and walk a mile, well, walking a mile is not that hard on a good sunny day. But let's imagine now you're starving, you haven't eaten for the past 2 days, and you have to walk this mile. Well, all of a sudden that mile feels like you have to walk 30 miles just because of the struggle that you're dealing with. This is the same when you go and you audition. If you audition and you don't book the part, you might be like, oh, okay, that's okay. If you have enough money in the bank where you don't have to worry about it, you're like, okay, I can keep sustaining myself, I can keep auditioning. But if you find for yourself and you're like, oh my God, I'm struggling to pay my rent, I'm struggling to put food on the table, and I'm paying for these acting classes and I'm not booking anything, okay, here's another audition, here we go. That audition is 10 times harder and hurts 10 times more when you don't book it, simply because you don't have your financial means a little bit more under control. Again, there is nothing wrong with people who want to go and get their degrees and also act at the same time. That's one of the ways that I have found that when people go that route, they find that it's a lot easier for them to go and sustain themselves as actors, and they don't have to struggle as much. And if you don't have to struggle and you don't have to worry about it, that means you can keep staying being in this business for a longer period of time. So if you're in this business again for 10 years and you get 50 auditions a year, that's going to be 500 auditions. If you quit after the first year, after just 50 auditions, you're probably not going to get anything. If you have 500 auditions, you have a much better chance of hopefully booking something. Nothing, remember, is a guarantee at all, but the big predictor for whether or not you are going to have the chance to book it as an actor is if you are auditioning. If you don't audition, Steven Spielberg's not going to knock on your door. You must be auditioning in order to go and book a part. But the only way to sustain yourself to keep auditioning is to be able to have a strong enough financial means that allows you to continue to do it over and over and over again, and hopefully luck strikes your way. So I hope you all like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you stay up to date with everything, because we're posting 2 videos a week now. Also, if you're interested in our 10-hour acting masterclass or 2.0 versions, always linked down in the description down below. And then if you want to have a video that goes along with this one to help you out, then you're really going to love this video right over here. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.